Afternoon, Brentley here from Huckabones, and we're going to look at some ramp angles today along with axle options to help you better decide on what trailer and what axles you need, so stay tuned. All right, so what we're gonna look at right here is two steel trailers, exact same manufacturer, two 3,500-pound axles, and with the same tires, 15-inch 5-bolt hubs. So what we're looking at here is what they call a straight axle, which your axle will be straight, your springs are underneath it, and that's how it's mounted to the trailer, versus a drop axle. And a drop axle will be a premium or an upgrade. It will cost more, but what it's gonna do is gonna lower that trailer down by about 4 inches. So what happens is the axle is connected to a hub, and then with that hub linkage is 4-inch drop, where the straight axle you'll see in the photos is just straight across and mounted. So that's your difference in your 4 inches. And what we'll see a little bit later on in the video is us loading a lawnmower and what that 4-inch drop does to your ramp angle. And maybe that helps you decide on what trailer you're buying for your application. Again, the straight axle is going to give you the best clearance if you're going in the bush or off-road with the trailer, but the drop axle, while bringing the trailer down and lower clearance, will give you the best ramp angle for loading. So that will be for you to decide. All right, so over here we've got two aluminum trailers to look at, and both of them are running torsion axles. So this is gonna be an upgrade again, a higher price item than a drop axle will. But what this is giving you is a straight axle, so your best clearance option, along with your best suspension option. So the torsion axle will have the axle in the center, you'll have rubber housing around it, and then a steel housing around that. So it's gonna flex and move on that rubber. So like an independent suspension if you had a tandem axle, because they aren't linked like spring axles are. So what this will do, again, best clearance, best ride if you're loaded, because they will be bowed up. You might have a little pitch on your tires if you're empty, because again, there's no weight on these axles with an aluminum trailer. But once you do load it, then they straighten out, your tires straighten out, and they really ride nice. But why you go to this, not just to spend more money, is one, you're getting the best clearance, but you're also getting the best ramp angle. So the steel trailer over there that had the straight axle had an 18-inch back. And then when you went to a drop axle, that dropped it down to 14-inch. So 14 inch is what I have here on this aluminum trailer with the exact same tire and axle of a 3,500 pound and 15-inch. And we're actually down to 12 on the right side. Now this is on a 13-inch tire along with a 2,200 pound axle because it's a 5x8 trailer. So again, you have the best ramp angles because you have the lowest trailer option, but the highest axle for clearance, and you'll see that in the pictures of you don't even have your bolts and shackles hanging down like you would on a spring axle. The whole thing is bolted to the frame and the axle's up nice and high. All right, so here comes the fun part. We're gonna load some zero turns on trailers. Great. What I want to reiterate is the black trailer has the drop axle, so this is 14 inches at the back, frame at the bottom, not deck height, just I'm measuring the bottom of each trailer to show where they're at. So 14 inches, and the one behind me that has that straight axle is at 18 inches. So you can see in this video how much steeper that ramp angle is just by looking at it. So we're gonna put this to the test of, I'm gonna measure this out on the deck height. This deck has some good range of what it'll go up and down on this zero turn. And then we're going to load each trailer and tell you what deck height that's at for clearance, just to show you on, again, depending on what you're buying for a product and what you're loading, then you can see what ramp angle is going to be best for your clearance. And we'll go to the aluminum trailer at the last and note a couple things on the floor of it as well. So let's get loaded up. All right, so what we're on here is a Z412 from Kubota. So they're midline series for zero turns, but got great deck height. So I have a 5 setting on this dial. Again, yes, it would mean 5 inches in my mind, but again, we didn't measure this, but we're at the 5 setting, let's say, and we're gonna go up this ramp and show how it clears on this drop axle trailer. And I'm also gonna dial it down, coming back down, and tell you what we can do on clearing for that so that it sets the point on the other two trailers. Okay, I'm gonna set it down to 4.25 because I know on this trailer that's what I can do. Okay, Okay, so we went up at the 5 setting and we came down at 4.25 setting, just because I had done this before and knew that was the clearance. Again, yes, my anti-scalp wheels caught and rolled down, but the deck didn't catch and, you know what I mean, stop me or anything that way, or the blades didn't catch from underneath. So our max here is 4.25. All right, so we got the straight axle trailer hooked up. Again, bottom of the trailer was at 18 inches versus 14 inches on the other trailer. You can see the ramp angle is significantly higher. Great if you got a four-wheeler, great if you got a side-by-side. We're gonna see if you got a zero turn and how it's gonna work. So wooden load, it's catching in the middle on your blade and your hub right here on the board. And what we're gonna highlight here on this Weber Lane style trailer, both of them actually, the black and this galvanized one, you can see that the boards are taller than a ramp. So this is having another effect on your ramp angle. Now you've got an inch higher board that you also have to get up and over at the top. So it's just not gonna do it on this straight axle. Let's go to the aluminum trailer. All right, so we're at trailer 3. Again, this is the aluminum Weber Lane with the torsion axle. So this is giving you your ultimate on clearance underneath the trailer for axle wise. It's giving you your lowest possible, just like your drop axle, for your ramp height and your trailer height. And you see the ramp angle is significantly lower. But what we'll note here is these boards are sunk into the frame. So this is a flat frame, I'll say, when you're loading at the ramp, it's the same ramp height and floor height. So one, we're not gonna get caught up like the other one. So we're gonna really show how this will drop down further, but this ramp angle with this torsion axle is gonna be the ultimate for sure. So we had to do a 2-inch drop on the truck for how this torsion axle / aluminum frame is different from the steel frame ones of hitch height. So this has actually got a 6-inch drop hitch in this Tundra versus the other ones had a 4-inch drop. But everything's kind of the same as what they were of you're a little bit high in the front as you want to be when you're hooked up, because when you put this machine on or any machine on, you know, you're going to have a little bit of tongue weight, which is then going to drop the bottom of your truck or the back of your truck, and that's going to then ride level. So this is where you want to be hooked up to a trailer. Okay, so we're gonna drop it down to 4.25 like the first trailer. I'll drop it down some more. I'll drop it down to 3.5. A little bit of rub there. So again, we went up at the 5 height just like we did every other trailer. It cleared obviously being a lower ramp angle and then the boards not being above the ramp. We actually got down to 3.5 setting, where the better of the two steel trailers was 4.25. So we've dropped down another, you know what I mean, 1.5 inches, let's say, if this is in true inches, but 3 notches, let's put it that way, on the deck height. So again, you can see the deck height level of what your machine may be able to do on this type of trailer. So that's kind of what you want to look at. So we'll wrap up this video here in just a second, but I really like how this went, and I've learned some things about the floor height of the boards along with your ramp angle height myself. All right, just to wrap up today's video, I hope you guys learned something, because I actually learned stuff on the products that we're selling here. With one, ramp angle sometimes comes into factor in what you're buying for a trailer. It's not just price or not just width and dimensions of will it fit in, it's how will it get in. So we looked at different options of, again, your straight axle versus a drop axle with springs, and then we looked at what this aluminum trailer has of a torsion axle and how that differs the ramp angles and the build of the trailer, and also the approach of that peak at the top of the ramp. So again, the biggest thing is have your trailer level, make sure that right hitch is in the truck to level it out. check how much height you got on clearance of whatever you're loading, and then make your decision on what you're buying, and maybe that extra couple dollars for a drop axle or torsion axle is going to be a benefit to you. So if you do like today's video, click and subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below.